And hi, and welcome back to the Facebook Ad Kingdom podcast. We're going to tackle all kinds of questions. We're talking about Facebook ads and e-com and business and entrepreneurship and products and so much more. And are we going to swear? No, we're not going to swear. We don't do that, which means I could label this as made for kids. Kids, if you're listening.
I actually think you're not supposed to label it for kids because I think that means there's no
Shoot.
comments on the videos. So don't label it for kids.
Good to know. I will actually change all of that. I'm your host, Mordy Rap, and with me is my co-host and my boss, Azriel Rats, the founder of Rats Pack Media. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about landing page optimization. You're spending money, you're doing a lot of work, you're getting people to the place where they're supposed to purchase, and then how do I make it better? I want them to buy? So let's talk about that. Azriel, do you love this topic?
I love this topic. I love every topic that has to do with making people money. That's what I love. I just love making people lots of money.
It's important. And this is a money-making topic. So let's start with a little simple one here. But what are the key elements of a high-converting landing page?
Okay, well, let's take a step back let's talk about why I care, why it makes so much money. So have you purchased every product from every product page you've ever been to? No, obviously not. So right now, the average conversion rate on an e-commerce website from a product page is about 1.5% to 2.5% conversion rate. So that means that for every 100 people that you get to your site, you'd be lucky if 2 or 3, if you're really lucky, 3 of them actually purchase. So if you're able to improve that conversion rate by just a tiny amount, 5, 10, 20% improvement on that landing page, that potentially would mean hundreds of thousands of extra dollars in your business because you're anyways driving the traffic, you're anyways making the content, you're anyways running the ads, you're anyways sending the emails and the SMSs. So you might as well just get as much money as you can from every website visitor. So the first question we have to ask is why is everyone not buying from me? Right? That's the first question is I need to figure out, I'm sending traffic to this page. Why are they not buying? So now there's obviously lots of stuff that have nothing to do with the landing page. You're sending the wrong type of people. You're sending them to a product they don't want to buy. You're sending them to a landing page that doesn't work. You got to get rid of all those things. The assumption is that the person's getting to a website, the page that they're getting to loads at a normal speed, and they're actually purchasing, they're actually want to buy the thing that is presented to them on the screen, right? So assuming that, what are the options of things that we could do to improve conversion rate, right? So now you can re-ask your question so I can answer that question.
Well, the question again was, what are the key elements of a high converting landing page?
Okay.
If you're saying the average is 3% and that's considered high, is that considered high converting?
That's considered high converting for a purchase. Once you're asking for a lead, then I've seen pages that convert 50 to 80% conversion rate, but all you're asking for is an email or a phone number. But on an actual product landing page, 3 to 5, honestly, these days 3 is high. Most of the pages I see nowadays, 1.5 to 2.5. 3 is considered a high conversion rate. So there's obviously a lot of stuff that you could do. So the first thing that we want to make sure that we have is you want to know, people want to know that they could trust your website. So already now it's basically required to have, the functional, I think it's called SSL, that you have a document on the website that basically declares we are secure. If you use Shopify, that happens all by itself. You don't have to worry about all that security, but essentially the user knows that when I give my credit card, you give your credit card to buy the product, they're not also giving your credit card to buy any other item that the shop owner would like to buy because they now have your credit card. So the website is essentially encrypting your credit card so that is not public information for other people. So if you're using Shopify or WooCommerce or BigCommerce or any other thing, it's probably doing that already. But many browsers these days, if you don't have something like that, they'll give a pop-up that says, hey, this site is not safe, do not go here. And that is a thing you want to make sure that you have. On top of that, I want to know that other people have felt some way about this product. So the easiest way to do that is just like to do what Amazon does right underneath the product name, to have like a number of stars and then maybe the total number of people that reviewed. And just like an easy way to see other people have bought this thing and they did or did not like it this much, right? Two stars out of 5 is not great, and 5 stars out of 5 is really great. So it's a very quick way to just say like, okay, 1,000 people bought this product. Great. Already I know I'm not the only one here. I didn't buy I'm not the first one ever buying the shirt. And then I see that they have like a relatively decent score. Okay, I could trust that the quality is not going to be absolutely terrible, right? So great. On top of that, you want to have a big button that tells people to buy. Again, if you use almost any Shopify site, there's a big button. Now, what some people will do is they'll play around with all these things, and there's a really famous story from Google about how they tested 50 different shades of a specific button that it's going to be the send button. And to me, over the years, I really feel like most of that's basically bogus nowadays. The difference between a red button and a green button and a blue button probably don't actually mean anything. The reason is because typically when a change is made on the website, any change at all, the user recognizes the change. Obviously, this is a person that has been to the site before and has seen the site, and now the site's different. Because it's different, their brain starts like doing other stuff. So just the fact that you're changing stuff means that it's going to potentially improve the conversion rate. But not any specific thing is the reason why, meaning because blue is better than red. No, it's just because it's different. So what'll happen is you'll do a test where you'll change from blue to red. You'll run the test for the 2 weeks. For the first 5-6 days, you'll have that, improvement. I'm not sure why my hand keeps going off the thing, but yeah, that improvement. And then what happens is essentially it just goes back to the average. Like as the user gets used to that color, it'll just move back to that average. Not that it's any better, but just that it's the same as it always been.
There's no quantifiable change, really.
So essentially the best thing in theory to do is just keep changing your buttons every 3 weeks. But it's not that it's because the different color does anything for you that it changes. But what I have seen that has interestingly changed stuff is like the wording of the button. So most of the time it just is like add to cart, right? But I've seen, especially with a lot of business coaches that don't use Shopify, and therefore you can actually like tweak and change these things, to write like a very specific call to action message changes if the user clicks the button or not. So it'll go from like add to cart to buy my journal today, right? All of a sudden, like having the call to action of my versus yours also somehow improves. And there's a lot of these like quirks in the study of the psychology of the user that can dramatically change how the user interacts with buttons. I also heard there's this relatively like famous, if you will, thing from another podcast, which was the Nick Sharma, no longer Ali Moy's podcast. He left. But they were talking about how they added a little picture of a lock next to the buy now button. And that little picture made people feel that they were more secure. Why is it that little, thing it was just literally the developer went in and added a little picture of or I guess the designer went in and added a little picture of a lock. And for whatever reason, that compelled the user to feel more at ease, that they were somehow more secure because there was a picture of a lock. They're not any more or less secure because there's a picture there, but just essentially making the user feel comfortable, which is all the stuff we spoke about. Having customer reviews, having an easy process, having whatever basic security, maybe even potentially writing under like, we don't save your data, stuff like that, just to give them that feeling of faith in the business. Great. On top of that, you want to have features of the product. So in theory, you could either send to a collection page where people can see a lot of products, or directly to a product page. And on that product page, you want the user to have enough information that they don't have to then go somewhere else to read that information, because you want as much stuff to happen on that page without them going other places. Every additional click, this is very important, every additional click leads to a dramatic drop in conversion rate. So I'm running ads now for a dating app, and we were running ads initially to a landing page. It just said, click here to download the app. And then they would click this single button, nothing else to do. And it would go to the app store to download the app.
Ooh.
Just that one button dropped the conversion rate by 25%.
It's a lot.
A lot. That's a huge number of people that just that added hurdle of one more button to get to the app install page made them not download the app. So every way that you could make it simpler for the user to just see everything they need to see on that single one landing page can dramatically help. Just so step number one really is just have as good of a user experience as you can make it for the user, for them not to have to go wandering your website in hopes of understanding more about the product. That's like the general rule of CRO, or conversion rate optimization, landing page optimization, is make the user experience as simple as possible for the user.
Minimalism.
Potentially, we actually spoke about this on another podcast. I'm not sure if we did the Gymshark website, which I really love the experience, because directly from any collection page, you can actually add products directly to cart without having to go to the product page. So they're able to essentially get you to the homepage because you're just visiting the homepage, whether that's from a Google ad or who knows what. And then from there, you just hover over any product, and it tells you which sizes are available. You just click medium, and you've now added a medium of that product to your cart. So with a single click of a button on the homepage, you've already added to cart. There is no process where they have to go, scroll through the whole website or something. And then directly on that cart page, they then have upsells. So literally on the site, they show you, oh, you want that product? Here are 3 other products just like that product. And it just rotates more and more products as you continue selecting. Your entire purchase experience can happen directly in the cart without you having to go around, just by leveraging the data of, oh, person X is looking at this. We have 10,000 other buyers that bought that product. Let's show them other things they bought with them, right?
Very
so that's
cool.
like the general thesis of all landing page optimization is make the process as simple as possible for the user to do the thing that you want them to do.
Right.
But now there's an important caveat, the thing you want them to do. So for every site, there might be a little bit different of thing you want them to do. And I think we also mentioned this briefly in another podcast, but essentially sometimes you want them to buy the one product that you're advertising, right? So you want them to see the product in the ad, come directly to the product page and buy that product. So therefore you want to make the experience where the person goes directly to that product page. But other times you don't want that to happen. Now, why might not that be the case? Because you want them to buy other stuff with the product. So if they only come directly to that product, they add it to cart and they leave, that's it. They're done. They're not going to now go and browse. But if you send them instead to a collection page where the person can see a bunch of products, they'll browse in hopes that they're going to now buy not 1, but 3, 4, 5, 10 products. So by creating a system where they're browsing rather than purchasing that one product, you've now created a situation where they are looking at other stuff in hopes that they're going to buy that other stuff. So in this situation, the purpose isn't to get them to buy this one product. It's to browse potential purchases and then buy. So I'm actually lowering the quality of the experience to buy the one product in order for you to do a different thing than I want.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a supermarket, right? Like some people go to a supermarket, they wanted to just get the milk, but like the supermarket designer made it that it's a maze so that you get the milk and the soap and the water and whatever.
100%.
And you come home and your spouse is like, what the heck? It said milk.
It said milk. And here you are. Why do I have 300 dinosaur eggs?
Actual real dinosaur eggs. How did you even find that? All right. Well, so you know what? I think this leads me to another question. When you talk about this idea of, and you mentioned this concept of just changing the buttons, as a marketer, I kind of want to know and I want to test certain theories. What would you say are like strong variables to do A/B testing on landing pages?
Yeah. So again, like the micro of a little button here or there probably won't change anything.
Right.
But there's so many cool apps these days, like Shopify plugins, that you could add to layer on top of your site. So, for example, there's a company that I know called VideoWise. And what VideoWise does is they allow you to embed videos throughout the website experience. So
Mm.
you're either potentially just a simple one where it just sort of sits, it hovers. I'm a little confused where my hands are, but like it just hovers in the bottom corner of the screen right here. So you're on the product page, you see the product, you see the name, you see the reviews, like, the star rating, you see the sizes, and then right on the bottom corner, there's a little video playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's quiet, like unmute, and you press it, it expands open, plays this video. It probably will show some product features or maybe a best performing UGC or an influencer or something. And then the user will now be way more engaged than they are on a typical product page. And I think that engaging users in general on a product page is something that really can help conversion rate, because the users now like seeing the product, like even just a simple thing where you are buying an undershirt and you want to know, like, what does this feel like here? And so to have a little video of the person sort of like stretching it and showing that it does what it's supposed to do. So on the website, True Classic Tees, on their product pages, they literally have little videos, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, these little videos. And it's just exactly that. The guy like pulling at the arm to show you what the stretch feels like. It pulls at the bottom of the shirt to show you what, like, and so just to give you that feeling of what it would feel like if you were holding the material, like even to show the stretchiness of the product. So again, all of these are just things that enable the user to have a better experience on that product page. And I think anything that you could do to enhance that experience, whether it's a video, writing a longer description. There happens to be an app that I'm testing now that I met the team quite a few times already. It's called Alby, ALBY. It's a really great tool. I'm forgetting what their URL is, if it's .io or .ai or .something. Essentially what they do, and I've seen an incredible uptick for a product, a company we're running ads for now. What they do is they create a chatbot experience on each product page. So just for people to understand, they're essentially nowadays, almost every website has a place for you to chat with support. And so typically what the company wants is for you to discuss with the support about the product you want to buy. But that's never, like almost never, what is actually happening. 95+% of the time, the users are coming there to ask for two things. Number one, where is my order? And number two, can I return this thing?
Huh.
So that's almost like 95% of inquiries are just, when is my thing going to arrive and how can I send it back?
Meaning that product information is not
it's not what the users come to chat about. It's not that it's not valuable. It's that they come to chat about. So this company, Alby, essentially flips the script on the chatbot experience. And rather than having a chatbot where the user is just going to come, my order number is 13456, tell me when it's coming. Instead, it pre-writes questions that you might have about the product. And so the example on their website is related to camping gear. So it's on a camping gear website, and it's showing you a product of a tent. And so you might have questions about the tent. Is it waterproof? How hard is it to set up? Is it, knife proof? Whatever things you might be asking about tents. So it pre-writes the question, and then it knows based on the data from other users which questions get the user to buy more frequently. So they'll actually show those questions higher up. So as an example, the client that I'm doing this on, they sell linen sheets, and linen sheets are a very big purchase. We're talking about like just a set of sheets can cost $400 plus. So the user wants to know what they're getting themselves into when they're buying a set of linen sheets. The question might be, how do I wash these? How do I how often do I need to change the sheet? I might never have owned linen. What makes your linen different than other linen companies, right? And so to have those questions already available in a little widget directly under the product image has actually increased the conversion rate by like 12%, which is a huge amount.
Yeah.
Right? Again, to increase 10% means that you're going from a 2% conversion rate to a 2.2% conversion rate. That's a huge number when you're sending 100,000 clicks to a website. So that's a thing that I really like. And for specific types of businesses that you need to just know more information about, that's a really great tool to have on the site. Like, again, for the linen sheets, I think it works very, very nicely to teach how this linen sheet's made, where it's made, why I should care that it's linen versus some other fabric, how you take care of it. Like, one of the things that this company cares about, they send the product with no plastics. So it like comes in the box and everything's recyclable. They even like tie it with twine. They pre-wash it for you so that you could use it the very first time without you having to worry about washing it. And so all of these things, no one, potentially none of the people even know about it, right? Like, the user doesn't even know that this is an experience that they're getting unless we tell them. So how do we go about telling them? It's by putting it in this little chatbot to tell them, hey, do I have to wash it? No, we actually pre-wash and fold all of the sheets for you so that you don't have to worry about that. And so that I think, I'm a big fan, and I'm also a big fan of the team. I met them a handful of times. And I think that tool in general is something that really can help users. And so on top of that, having other users talk about the experience, right? So there's quite a few tools. Okendo and Yotpo are basically the two big ones, and there are review section of the product page. So you come to the product page, you go to the bottom, and you actually see users and how they feel about it. They upload their pictures, they tell you their experience, and that just gives you like that feeling of, okay, I'm not alone here, and other people have bought this and they have had a good experience. And I have to imagine that people do spend time reading those comments, because I know Amazon makes it a pretty big deal, to the point where Amazon even has now a section that's an AI like reader of all of the comments, like of the reviews. So you go to Amazon, and Amazon has a section, and it says the average purchaser believe this, that, and the other thing about this product. So you're getting to read like a summary of potentially 100 reviews by just a single column. And then they'll have like a little checklist, like ease of use, check, easy to clean, check, and stuff like that. So just to know that is something that is available. Okay. I'm not sure what number we're up to. In addition to that, number 5.6, I guess, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure what number we're up to.
I've been counting. Yeah, you got it. You're on track.
There's quite a few things that you could do on that product page just to give people like the sense of, when's this thing going to arrive? So I know that with Amazon, there's an expectation that if I order it today, I should get it by the end of the week. But when you're a little mom and pop online store, that's not always the case. It could take 7, 8, 10, 2 weeks. Like I knew a client that took 4 weeks to ship, every product. And so you just have to have that on the site. As an example, this linen sheet, they are hand making. They're essentially like making the linen in like Italy or something and shipping it to America, and then they're hand doing something to get it to cut. So it does take 2-3 weeks just to get it ready for you. And then by the time it actually gets into a box and ships, could potentially be a whole month. So to have somewhere on the page, like the expectation of what you should expect when you order, there's that this is the place to do it. It's not in the email after they purchased. You don't want to find out after you order. And I saw this, I think we even spoke about this. This guy ordered a pair of shoes and found out that it was going to come after his wedding, because he didn't know it would take a full month to ship these shoes to his house. This should not be a surprise for the user. They should come to the site and they should know. And Amazon, again, this is another thing. Trust me, Amazon spent quite a lot of money optimizing landing pages. I would assume anything they care about is something, if you should care about. And it says, order by this time today to get it, in your house by,
very clever.
August 15th.
Yeah. I actually just bought a product online. I bought a holster for my gun, and it was not clear how long it would take to purchase, and I did not make that calculation. I bought the free shipping, which said, okay, 8 days. I'm like, all right, I could do 8 days. That's fine. It's getting there weeks ahead of when I needed it. And then when I purchased and checked out and I got the email, it says your order is being processed.
It takes 8 days to process.
No, it took 2 weeks to process. 2 weeks, and then I found I had to navigate the website to find that information. It just seemed like that's a poor experience for a product that sells really well. It is a leader in its field.
Is it just like, can't you just 3D print a holster? What's complicated about a holster?
Leather, I don't know.
You got to get some cows, 3D print some cows. I'm sure there's no time at all.
I think it's a fantastic thing, but I wanna let's hone this down just a little bit more. What you're actually saying in here is something very clever. As the owner of the website, I need to know my users well, and I have to come up with assumptions and theories. And then in order to assume certain things about the experience that the customer wants, I have to A/B test different tools, different layouts, different pieces of information. And only then can I prove my theory to actually optimize. Is that
Well,
correct?
so I don't like making assumptions. So there are quite a lot of tools. There's Hotjar. I think there's a Microsoft also analytics tool. You install it on your website, and it shows you how the user interacts with the website. So what they're actually clicking on, what they actually hover over, and you'd be surprised at how potentially having the word sale in one of your one of your menu drop downs drives all of your traffic to that sales page, but that's not where you want people to shop. Like, if we spoke about ad nauseum at this point, the requirement of having a high average cart value. If all your users are running to the sale page, you're actually hurting yourself.
Correct.
So you might find that all of these users are going to the sales page and just looking at the products that are for sale. Right. And you've actually lost out on the opportunity for them to buy a product that's 5 times more expensive.
Right.
And so by actually removing the thing they're clicking on, which sounds counterintuitive,
it does, right?
It'll help you improve the average cart value. So the first step is to understand how they are already, as opposed to making an assumption what I think. I want to first think, what are they actually doing? What are the users actually doing on the website? And so if I could watch, again, to sit and watch like 10,000, things is really not for me. That's not really but even just to go on Google Analytics is really basic tool where they just show, 73% of clicks happen here, right? And that, like, I used to do a lot of email. I don't personally do a lot of email marketing now, but back a decade ago, I did a lot of email marketing. And there's like obvious things that you think should happen that don't on emails. Just as a quick example, there's an image on the email. And so whenever I click on an image of an email and it expands it, I know that company's losing out on money, like obvious money. Because if I click on an image on a product, I should go to that product. I should be sent immediately to that product page. The fact that I now have to tap out and click somewhere else is a lost opportunity, right? So seeing that users are clicking on the email to expand an image bigger means you've already lost out on stuff. So step one is just to see, I'm going to look at the experience the users have. And you could do this with real people, right? Like literally hand someone your phone. Hey, John, I've never met you before, and I don't know how I know your name. It's a little creepy. Hello, John. Great to meet you. Take my phone and just pretend you're using this site. What would you do? And you just sort of watch over the shoulder as they're experiencing the website. And you could do this for a handful of people, and you could see what they're doing. And you'd be like, oh, why did that person do that? And actually, I personally like to do this with Ads Manager. I like to watch other ad buyers play around in Ads Manager, because you never know, oh, why are they pressing that button? And you'll find they do different things for whatever reason. And then you ask them why. And it's because of the way that they think when they experience the website. And so that exact thing you should do. You probably, especially when you've just rolled out a brand new company, to go and find 10 random people on the street that you think are your potential buyer and have them just review your website. Can you go to this website? Just scroll. Let me see what you're doing. I'll give you a free product, And you'll see very quickly what users do that you don't expect them to do, or what users do that you do expect them to do. And then you can change based on that experience. So rather than just going and saying I think users are going to do this, you should come in and say, users are doing this. I'm seeing that users are coming to this page. And that's why just on our last podcast, we were talking about when we go into Events Manager and we see all these people are coming to the product page, but everyone's not purchasing. Why are they not adding to cart? What's happening between the step of product page and cart page? And you could go to the product page and be like, something's wrong here, and then just fix that thing. there's this guy again. I've met him at quite a few conferences. The company's called Web Eyes with a Z, and what the company does is they track all of the web pages that people go to that have error messages at the end of the experience. And so essentially, you are sending people to your website, but you don't know that 10,000 people get to a product page that's out of stock. So now all these people want to buy this product, and the product's out of stock, and you aren't directing any sales directly to that page, so you don't think anyone's actually getting there, but you can find out that there's tons and tons of users getting to the product page, and they're just leaving. So just to have a notification when 50 people take this action, there's something I should do here.
Right.
Order more product, take it down, stop having that product on the site. If you're not gonna refill it, just don't have it on the site anymore.
It hurts the experience.
And so essentially what this tool does is it tells you before it becomes a big problem, people are getting to 401 pages. Why? Where is that happening? Is that happening in my email? Is that happening in an ad? Is that happening on a landing page in a little footnote? Maybe like the footer has a button that doesn't go anywhere, and you can find out what's happening on your page. And obviously, the more you can know about the users' stuff they're doing, the better experience you can make it for them, and the faster you could fix any of these problems that are coming in on your website.
So here is another really good question that I think you actually opened up a perfect segue to. How can a business align their landing pages with their ad campaigns to have a seamless user experience? You mentioned this idea that sometimes an ad is there to get people to shop versus sometimes an ad is there to have somebody buy that product that they saw the ad for. So again, it's a general question, but where does the ad to landing page, relationship, how do you make that as seamless as possible?
So back like 10 years ago, there used to be this shtick that people would do on Google ads where a person would run an ad on Google with a very specific keyword based on the search term from the user. And then the Google ad would say that word. And then the landing page would say that word. And there would be like this favoritism from Google, the fact that, wow, the keyword matches so nicely to the landing page that matches so nicely and everything fits so great, that they actually made it a tool like natively within Google that you could have the exact keyword pulled from the search term and show the same ad, but just change like this section of the words based on how the person wrote it in their ad so that they're more likely to click. But it's not so easy to do that on the landing page. So for a long time, people would just have like dozens and dozens of landing pages and they would send like very specific traffic. That sort of died out with, over time. But there are many landing page companies that exist today that do exactly that on Shopify. Give the user experience different than what would just be the homepage click and get the user to see exactly the information that they care about. So step one would be to know what people care about, right? Doing all of these things assumes that at this point, here are the 6 things I need to make sure that I'm doing on my landing page, right? And then I would create a landing page experience that does exactly this. And I actually think a couple of weeks ago we spoke about this. I met this woman who sells skincare, and most of her sales happen on Amazon. Almost entire, like 70% of her sales happen on Amazon. But she's trying to build the brand off of Amazon. Most of her sales come in from influencer marketing on TikTok. So what I told her is, first we need to understand, how does the average user interact with your TikTok? So what we've seen in general is that people see an ad on TikTok. They don't generally click it. They'll actually go and search the term on Google. So when you search the name of your brand on Google, what comes up first? Your Amazon or your homepage? And the answer is likely your Amazon. Amazon likely outranks you. If you sell on Amazon, you're likely outranked for your own product name by Amazon, which is a little frustrating. Yep. And essentially what that means is the users are now, you paid an influencer to get someone to search your business name, to type it into Google, to go to Amazon and buy from Amazon, and then you're just getting like a cut of the profits, right?
Right.
Well, what if you can come in and basically just funnel those sales into your website instead? So I told her, run ads on your own branded term, knowing that the money doesn't actually matter because they're coming to you anyways. Like they're coming to buy from you to begin with. They're typing in your brand name. And I'm not sure which podcast you mentioned, like branded keywords on Google is a bit of a, flip about what do I consider if it's really mine or not. But the point isn't the extra benefit of the sales I'm getting. The point is drive them to my website first. Why? I build my Facebook pixel data. I teach them about my site in my terms, whether they buy from me or not. And even if I'm just funneling sales away from Amazon and making the same dollar for dollar what I make, that dollar sold on your site is worth way more than a dollar on Amazon.
You own the client. You own the client.
And also you're not paying Amazon that money, right? Like every sale, you're paying Amazon like a pretty large portion of the product sales.
Amazon, you cannot have my money.
So even to just say, anyone who's searching my brand, like, listen, I'm going to keep it up on Amazon. I still want people to be able to buy there. I still want, and she's in other stores. Like she would love for people to go and buy it at Target and buy it at who knows where. But to have this experience where the first place they go is my website, potentially I'm going to sell some of them. They might, because what might happen is they'll go, okay, I know enough about this product, but I like buying from Amazon because I know the experience on Amazon means I'm going to get it. It's going to be prime. It's going to arrive at my house. I'm not going to have any problems. If there's an issue with the product, I could just request refund and I'm going to get my money and it's not going to be complicated. And there are definitely people that do that. And they might not buy from her website. But just to be able to build her Facebook data on her Facebook landing page, right, the Facebook pixel data, to now go and target other users when she doesn't typically grow her page from Facebook, right? To now grow her targetable audiences on Instagram and Facebook is already the purpose of that landing page. And so essentially what I told her was, now think about a person who just saw some ad from an influencer who is searching your brand name because they want to learn more. What is the experience I want on that landing page versus what I would give on a homepage versus what I would give on Amazon versus what I would give on a product page. And the likelihood is it's different, right? I might include way more TikTok style videos on that landing page than I would on my homepage. The homepage isn't a great place to have 27 videos, but that landing page might be a really great place to have the top, performing TikToks. Underneath them, some product images relevant, like product where the person can now go immediately to the product page and buy, or maybe even just click straight from there and buy. They saw the video, they came from another video, they might be ready to buy already. And building the page with that specific experience in mind allows us to come in and say, this is what I want it to be. And that same thing is true with any ad I would be running. So again, the same podcast we mentioned before, Nick and Moyes, they talked about Black Friday. And so a lot of times businesses will have some crazy sale for Black Friday, but they won't actually write it anywhere on the website. So you see the ad, type in BF25 for 25% off on Black Friday or something, but then there's nowhere on the website. There's no pop-up. There's no anything in the cart that tells them like, hey, you might have forgotten about this cart, like this coupon that you wanted to use. And so what they say is like, you should have directly on the top of the website, Black Friday sale going on now till Thursday. Make sure to include coupon code XYZ to get that coupon discount. Or a pop-up that shows up like, click here to apply coupon today, like right now. And so knowing the reason why the user's there helps us understand why, like that experience. Literally, I'm having this conversation right now with someone. He's finishing the season, right? Right now it's August. We're going to post this in August. And so by now, people are buying less and less summer clothing. Already by September, it's going to start getting colder. We're going to be entering fall. Then he needs to liquidate his whatever product he has. So he's like coming to me and saying, okay, what can I do now to liquidate the remaining summer products I have? So we're already having conversations about, okay, we know typically they're paying full price and about $100 per product. Now, because it's the end of season, you might be selling it for $50 or $40 on the site, but $40 is too low of an average cart. What if we introduce for this sale free shipping over $75? So now the user is going to buy hopefully 2 or 3. That's going to help us get to an average cart higher than it would have gotten before. And to have a landing page that's specifically showing off the products that are remaining. I don't want to send them to the homepage. I'm going to send them to a product page that's specifically these products that are going out of season, because if I wait another 3 weeks, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
Like I'm not getting that sale anymore. So exactly that. come in mind with what the ad is, what I want the ad to do, and then give that experience on the landing page to fit as best as possible. Now, obviously, you could do this on like this crazy micro level. I know of people that have, like, there's a website with skincare where they'll send you a web page, and they'll ask you like a dozen questions specific for the type of skincare that you want, and then the landing page will follow you around that's specific to your skincare experience that you're looking for, based on like the how often you use the product, or the color of your skin, or what you're looking to achieve. All of that is asked in this like quiz sort of thing, and then the landing page is now geared to you. When you come back, you're going to get that same landing page experience with those specific products shown to you.
Very cool.
And there's a lot of tools. Fermat, F-A for F-E-R-M-A-T, Fermat is a company.
Fermat.
There's a lot of friends that work there, and exactly this is creating landing page experiences for your ads, so that the user gets to that page and they get the experience that's exactly what they need to show the products exactly how they want to see them, in a way that might not be possible on a typical product page or collection page or homepage.
So here's something I don't think we have ever spoken about in the past 3 months. What is the role of mobile in this entire system? I think most of the time we've been speaking about a desktop experience of sorts. And I have to imagine there's so much mobile purchasing that happens. What are your thoughts, and how does that fit into what we're talking about?
So the truth is the opposite. The average user is on mobile and not on desktop anymore. And luckily, the businesses have figured that out over the years. I remember watching back in like 2016, 17, that Gary Vaynerchuk made a comment that he's hoping for the day when businesses have mobile first and no desktop. Like, you get to the desktop page and it doesn't work, because he was so frustrated that there were so many people that had great, beautiful looking desktop web pages, and then you come to their mobile and it wouldn't work. And it would be such a frustrating experience. And I've seen this through the years. Like, I had a client that they had a SaaS product that only worked on desktop, but they wouldn't even take the credit card of the user on mobile. And I'm like, the user wants to pay for it. Who cares where they're paying for it? Like, just because the app is only available on desktop doesn't mean that you should stop them from giving you their credit card on mobile. And we literally had to build a mobile experience to take their credit card, which is like crazy to me. But over the years, mobile has very much dominated. There used to be a tool that Facebook got rid of, which is a very sad thing because that tool is fantastic, called Audience Insights, where you could give Facebook an audience, whether that was your email list or your Facebook followers or something, and it would tell you a whole bunch of stuff about the users, like the other pages that they like, which is like a crazy resource, where they live, the states, the ages, the genders, all that stuff. And on the bottom of the last page, in the back corner of the analytics, was this little box that told you the number of users on desktop, the number of users on mobile, and the number of users on both. And back when the tool existed, back in 2014, 15, 16, most people were on desktop, like 70% were on desktop. And then that number shifted, that 80% plus were on both. And then by the time they got rid of the tool in 2018, 19, 20, 80% were on mobile. So the average experience in the last decade shifted from almost entirely users only using desktop to users almost entirely only using mobile. And if you have a website that doesn't work on mobile, that's a huge problem. Like 80% of your users, to the point where you, as a user on Instagram for a long time, couldn't even scroll on Instagram on desktop. I'm not even sure today if they've enabled a possibility to upload a post on Instagram on desktop. It might only be possible, I'm just checking because I'm here, create. It does look like now it is possible to upload a post on Instagram, but for a long time, it was not possible to upload on desktop because the average user was posting directly on their mobile. And the only person that cared enough to upload on desktop was the marketer that wanted to upload a lot of posts. So Instagram basically made this extra layer of annoyingness to prevent marketers from flooding the feed with desktop posts. So what you'd have to do if you wanted to use like a tool like Buffer or whatever, Hootsuite to plan your posts, is what it would do is it would create the post. It would send a notification on your phone at the time you wanted to post it. You have to click confirm. It would send you to Instagram with the thing pre-written, and then you have to click yes, actually upload it. So there was no mechanism for a long time. We're talking about like the first 4 or 5 years of Instagram to post on desktop. And the experience was like quite cumbersome. And that's because the average user was on mobile. The average user was on mobile. So I think if you're not thinking about the mobile experience, you've already lost, because the far majority of users are there every day. It's true that for a person who's like at work, they're on a desktop, but when a person's traveling on the toilet, on the couch, they're typically not carrying around their computer. The amount of hours per day that a user is on their computer versus their phone is outnumbered probably 3-1, if not 4-1 on mobile. And so today, if your user experience is not the best it could be on mobile, bad news bears, like really, really bad news. So obviously you should 100% be optimizing your landing page experience. If you're using Shopify, most of the work is done because they do have what's called responsive. So automatically the size of the site refits based on your site. I have seen quite a lot of people say that that's not the best way to do it. You have a lot of like design nerds that will tell you, the experience on an iPad and an iPod and a 7-inch screen versus a 12-inch screen versus all of these different things potentially could drastically change the way that the user experiences. And just to sort of like smush it and squash it and twist it and turn it to make it fit responsively is not the best way. And I know a lot of CROs, like people that work on landing page design, that will make special experiences for people on iPods versus Samsungs versus little screens versus low Wi-Fi versus, like people, like just imagine the difference between someone using a 3G network and someone using a Wi-Fi network, and how the loading time could potentially take way longer. And so imagine where you're able to know that information in advance before the user loads, to show them a landing page on 3G or 4G that'll load faster so that they can get to starting to scroll. And then if they were on Wi-Fi, they would show them a different experience. These aren't things that you could do like drag and drop on Shopify. It's not possible, but it is something you could do with a tool, with a custom-made, experience with some, specific plugin. But you 100% should at least be doing responsive. Like at least you should have that. Now, obviously, the sites that could have a better immersive experience on mobile are going to do better, because that's where they're at. Especially when you're targeting Gen Z, Gen Alpha, those users are way more engaged on mobile, and you want to have the best experience for that user. So it 100% it weighs in that mobile might potentially be the more important placement on the user journey.
Amazing. We're now at 48 minutes, so I think it's time to end this pod here. I had more questions, but it's we're at a good place, and I just kind of want to summarize for our listeners out there. What I learned today is that really when you're looking at the landing page, it's all about experience, and it's about taking off those layers. What is the experience I want my user to have? How fast can I get them basically from the time they come to actually purchasing? And thinking about, not even just about purchasing, is the next question is, what do I want them to do? There's experience, that's got to be first too, is what do I want them to do? You have to guide them in that way. If you have those two mindsets throughout your optimization, you'll get it. That's what it seems to be.
You'll get it. Obviously, there's never an end to this, because again, this is potentially one of the greatest levers that a business has, is making this experience just that much better. Could you imagine if you did just a little bit tweaking here or there, that your conversion rate went up by 50%, right?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. To go from a 2% to a 3% is a 50% increase in conversion. We're talking about potentially millions of dollars. So,
right.
So for a company, this is to me one of like the most important things that you could do, is increase the quality of this experience, and to always have on the agenda, like once a quarter, I'm going to test something on my website, because remember we said, even just change in general leads to improvements in the short term. So to always say, like, every month we're going to do some test, whether the test works or not, just the initial bump of something different might be the thing that's enough to get the user to actually buy from you. And then to constantly be looking for tests that actually in the long term help the business get more sales. So a great place to start is exactly what you said, the best experience possible, get them to do what I want them to do, and make them feel comfortable when they're there with the reviews, with the countdown, saying when I'm going to get this product, with the ability to question the device, what makes this thing special and different than all the 7,000 other stores I could be buying from. And when you start this, you go on a journey that is not a one day, but a forever lifetime experience where you constantly come up with better ways to help your customer want to buy and come back and buy even more from your site.
Amazing. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this pod. Please like and subscribe. Send us your questions. And soon you'll even be able to comment. Can't believe I missed that.
And I think you said did you mention that there's an Apple? There's an Apple.
We're on Apple. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Apple. We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube Shorts. We're everywhere.
Spotify. Hopefully we'll get more users once we're everywhere. What are we up to, 24? 24 users now?
We are not on Octify. That does not exist. Do not go there.
I said Spotify. What did you say?
I said Octify. I was just listing places where we might be. Because if you're going to claim that we're everywhere, you better own up.
There are plenty of websites we are not currently on, and we will remain off of those websites for now.
Okay. Anyone, please feel free to reach out to us if you have topics that you want us to cover, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Peace.
Later.